Hey lovely people, welcome back once again to another episode of Stitches Vids Collection. I'm Miss Stitches. In this video, I'm going to share with you how to make this beautiful and easy love shape or heart shape beaded bag. Before we start, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button. Let's get started. Materials needed. So you cut your fish line. Please make sure it's long enough. You cut it off, and we are using 0.70 mm. That is what we are using. So you make sure you have the ends of the fish line. Then you pick 4 beads. Fix on any side of the fish line, be it the left side or the right side of the fish line. You fix all 4 beads, and then you cross with the 4th bead. So with the other side of the fish line, you cross with the 4th bead. Make sure you have the ends of the fish line, and then you pull it out to make sure your fish line is equal. And then you have your first ring. You have our first ring. Going on, you pick 3 beads. Fix 1 bead on the left side of the fish line, fix 1 bead on the right side of the fish line. Then you cross with the 3rd bead. Cross both sides with the 3rd bead. Still have to hold the ends of the fish line to make sure one side is no longer than the other. Then you pull it out, and then we have our second ring done. Then you still pick 3 beads again. Fix 1 bead on the left side, fix 1 bead on the right side, and then you cross with the 3rd bead. With both fish line, you cross with the 3rd bead, and then you pull your fish line out. Please make sure you pull it out well to make your work firm, or to get your mat firm. So you weave one more time, and this time you still pick 3 beads, but you fix 2 beads on one side of the fish line. So on the side you want to turn with, that is where you fix 2 beads, and then with the 3rd bead you cross with the right fish line. So I fixed the beads on my left fish line, then I crossed with my right fish line. Then you pull it out also to make sure it's firm. Then on the left fish line, you still pick 3 beads. Fix 2 beads on the left fish line, and then you cross with the 3rd bead using the right fish line. So as I always say, I feel comfortable fixing the beads on my left fish line. So if you are comfortable with fixing the beads on your right fish line, you can just go ahead and use that method. And then you cross with the right fish line, you pull it out, and then with the right fish line you go through the next bead. So this time with the right fish line you go through the next bead, and then you pick 2 beads. Fix 1 on the left fish line, and then you cross with the second one. You cross with the 2nd bead using the right fish line. So you pick 2 beads, fix 1 on the left fish line, then you cross with the 2nd bead using the right fish line. You pull it out, and then with the right fish line you still go through the next bead. And then you still pick 2 beads, fix on the left fish line, and then you cross with the 2nd bead using the right fish line. Then with the right fish line you go through the next bead. Then on this fish line you fix 2 beads on that side of the fish line. On the last side, or let me say the ending side of the fish line, then you cross with the 2nd bead using the left fish line, or using the other side of the fish line. So this is what you get. Then on the left fish line Still fix 3 beads on that side of the fish line, which is the left fish line. Then you cross with the third bead using the right fish line. So you fix 3 beads on the left fish line, then you cross with the third bead using the right fish line. You pull it out, and then with the right fish line you go through the next bead. Then you pick 2 beads, fix on the left fish line, and then you cross with the second bead using the right fish line. Then you pull it out. Then with the right fish line you go through the next. So you go on and weave till you get to the end of this step. So we are going to continue weaving until we get the size we want, and that is about 15 steps. So we are going to weave till we get 15 steps. So this is the length we have now, and I'm okay with this length, but if you are not, feel free to add more to it. And then we are going to extend the beads. So with the new fish line, you skip the black side. So you skip this black bead and then go through the next red bead. So you skip 1 bead and then you go through the next bead. Then on the left fish line, you fix 2 beads on that side of the fish line, and then you pick 1 bead and then you cross with it. So let me see, you fix 3 beads on the left fish line, then you cross with the third bead. Then you pull it out. Then with the right fish line, you go through the next bead. Then you fix 2 beads on the left fish line, and then you cross with the second bead using the right fish line. Then with the right fish line, you go through the next bead. Fix 2 beads on the left fish line again, then cross with the second bead. Then with the same right fish line, go through the next bead as well. So it's the same method we are using as the first one. So you weave till you get to the last but 1 bead of the other side as well. So when you get to the last side, on the right fish line, you fix 2 beads. Then with that same right fish line, you go through this bead. Then you pull it out to make sure it's very firm. And then you pass the fish line through to the next bead. To the last but 1 bead, you pass the fish lines through to the last but 1 bead. So this is what you should get after you are done passing the fish line through the bead into the last but 1 bead. So on this fish line, you fix 2 beads, and then you pick 1 bead again, and then you fix on the same side, then you cross with the right fish line. So you pull it out and make sure it's firm. Then with the right fish line, you go through the next bead. Then you fix 2 beads on the left fish line, then you cross with the second bead using the right fish line. Then you weave on with the same method so you get to the last but one end of this round. So when you get to the last end on this fish line, you fix 2 beads, which is the left fish line. Then with that same left fish line, go through this bead, and then this time you pass the fish line through to the last but one bead. Pass it through to the last but one bead. So this is what you should have after you are done passing the fish lines through to the last but one bead. Then you weave to the other ends as well. So this time you weave, then you skip to the last but one bead, then you weave again. So this is where I end my work, and then you pass the excess fish lines through to make your work nice and to stop it from moving or something. Yeah. So after you are done with it, this is the V shape of it, and we're now going to do the other side to get the love shape of the bag. So we are going to weave the other ends to get the love shape of the bag as well. So with the new fish line, you still skip the black side and then go through the next bead. So you skip the last bead and then go through the last but one bead. Then you fix 3 beads on the left fish line. Then you cross with the third bead with the right fish line. Then with the same right fish line, you go through the next bead. So it's the same method as we weaved the down part of the love shape bag, as we weave the V side of the love shape bag. So it's the same method we are using to weave the waves, to weave the wave side of the, or let me say the logoligi side of the love shape bag. So please stick and stay, so we weave that side as well. So we are done with one side of it, and we are going to do the same for the other side as well. So that one, you start with the new fish line and then you go on with the same method, then you weave on till you get the shape you want for that side. So we are done with the other side as well. Then you need to pass your excess fish lines through to lock up your beads from removing. So we are done with the love shape, and as you can see, we have it formed nicely. So we are going to make a design at the sides of the love shape to complete the design we want now. So with the new fish line, you pick 4 beads, fix on any side of the fish line as we started with. So you fix all 4 beads on any side of the fish line, then you cross with the 4th bead using the other side of the fish line as well. So you pull it out, then you get the ring. So So this is what you should get. Then after, with this side of the fish line, you go through this bead, the first black bead. So you go through that bead. So you attach the ring to that side. Then on the left fish line, you pick 2 beads, fix on the left fish line, then you cross with the second bead using the right fish line. Then with the right fish line, you go through the next bead, then you fix 2 beads on the left fish line, you cross with the second bead using the right fish line. Then with the right fish line, you go through the next bead as well, then you cross, fix one more time, you go through the next bead, fix 2 beads, cross as well. Then on the right fish line, you fix 3 beads. Then with that same fish line, you go through this bead as well, you pull it out, and then you pass the fish lines to the last but one bead. This is what you should get. Then on the left fish line, you fix 3 beads, you cross with the third bead using the right fish line, and then you go through the next bead as well. Then you fix 2 beads on the left fish line again, cross with the second bead, then you go through the next bead with the right fish line, then you weave on so you get to the last but one bead at the other side as well. Then you pass your excess fish lines through after you are done. So we have one side done, and they are going to repeat the same design to the other side as well. So the same size, the same design, you repeat it to the other side. So we have it done now, and we have the designs on both sides of the love shape. So now I'm going to weave around it, so we start forming the body of the bag. So with the new fish line, you go through this bead here. So you can start from any side you want, depending on how you want the entrance of the bag to be. So on the left fish line, you fix 3 beads on that side of the fish line. Then you cross with the third bead using the right fish line. Please hold the end so you make sure you have equal lengths of the fish line. Then with the right fish line, you go through the next bead, the next one bead. Then you fix 2 beads on the left fish line, you cross with the second bead using the right fish line. Then with the same right fish line, you go through the next one bead as well. So it's the same method as we started with. That is what we are using throughout the weaving of this bag. So this is what you should get if you are on the right track of the method we are using to form the body of the bag. So you are going to weave till you get to the other side of the bag. So I have it done now, and as you can see, I shifted it upwards a little because I felt the entrance of the bag was too big. So I shifted it to the top, I think the next 2 beads. So we are going to weave one more time to make the bag a little bigger. So you weave one more time. And I have that side also done. So this is what you should get if you're on the right track. Then you pass your excess fish lines through. So after you are done, this is what you should get. And I did the same thing offline, the same size, the same colors, the same design offline. So I'm going to attach them together to get the full shape of the bag, or the full size of the bag. So with the new fish line, you go through the first bead on one side of the bag, pull it out. With that same fish line, you fix 1 bead. Then with that same side, you go through the first bead on the other side of the bag as well. Then you make sure you have equal ends of the fish line. Then you pick 1 bead, and then you cross with both sides of the fish line. you still make sure you have the ends of the fish line to make sure one fish line is no longer than the other. Then with the right fish line, you go through the next bead. With the left fish line, you go through the next bead as well. Then you pick one bead and then you cross with both sides of the fish line. You pull it out. Then with the right fish line, you go through the next bead. With the left fish line, you go through the next bead as well. Then you still go on and pick one bead and then you cross with both sides of the fish line. Then you weave on with the same method. So if you're on the right track, you can see the sides of the bags are joining. So you are going to weave on with the same method till you get to the top, or you get to the last end of the other side. So we are done joining the sides, and anytime you finish, you just have to pass your excess fish lines through to lock it up. So after you are done passing your fish lines through, you can see you have a knit work done, and it also makes your bag very firm. So we're about to make the handle for the bag, and it's going to be on this side. So with the new fish line, you go through this bead. You make sure you have the ends, then you fix 3 beads on any side of the fish line. So I'm fixing it on the left side of the fish line, all 3 beads on the left side. Then you cross with the 3rd bead using the right fish line. So you still have to make sure you have the ends of the fish line so you get equal length of the fish line. Then with the right fish line, you go through the next bead. So you go through this bead, and then you pick 2 beads, fix on the left side of the fish line. Then you cross with the 2nd bead. Then with the right fish line, you go through this bead as well. You go through the next bead. Then you fix 2 beads on the left fish line, you cross with the 2nd bead using the right fish line. Then with the right fish line, you go through the next 2 beads. Then you pick 1 bead and then you cross with both fish line. This is what you should get. Then on the left fish line, you still fix 3 beads. You cross with the 3rd bead using the right fish line. Then with the right fish line, you go through the next bead. Then you still fix 2 beads on the left fish line, cross with the 2nd bead using the right fish line. Then with the right fish line, you go through the next bead as well. Then you weave on. So you are going to weave with the same method until it's long enough for you to attach it to the other side as well. So when it gets to the length you want, you just attach it to the other side. So you can do it this way, you can do the handle this way, and then after you just pass your excess fish line through, and then you are done with it. So you pass your fish lines through to make your handle firm, because the handle carries the weight of the bag, as we all know. So you can leave it this way, you can do the handle this way, and then you are good to go if you like it. And then with the other way round, you can also do the handle this way. So either a square shape or a round shape, anyhow you want it. So you can have your handle as the first one or this second one here. I prefer this one because it looks simple and nice, but the square shape is also nice as well. So please give this video a thumbs up if you want to see more and more of my tutorials. Make sure you comment and share as well. Please follow me on Instagram and on Facebook. Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so you'll be notified anytime I upload a video. Thank you. See you in my next video. Have a nice day and bye.